This meeting of the Berry County Board of Commissioners is called to order. Will commissioners, staff, and guests please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today. We thank you for the end of January and one step closer to spring. We ask that you help guide our decisions for the citizens of our county, and we ask that you be with the men and women who are serving in harm's way to afford us these freedoms. In Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For purposes of attendance, the clerk will call the roll.
Connor?
Here.
Geiger?
Here.
Gibson?
Here.
Jackson?
Here.
Parker?
Here.
Smelker?
Here.
Wayne?
Here. Approval of written agenda. At this time, any commissioner or member of the public may ask for an item to be removed from the consent agenda and placed under items for consideration. Hearing no such request and without objection, the agenda is approved. Reports from state and county officers. Does any state or county officer or their representative have a report to share with the board? Seeing none. Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes. I'm getting my 3-minute timer out.
Quick. Come on, Larry,
All right.
make something up.
Quick. All right, hearing none. Various correspondence. Any commissioner have any correspondence to share with the board? I was not here for the last Board of Commissioner meeting. Since then, this board approved a letter to give support to Bethany Christian Services for the placement of refugee fosters or whatever. Since then, we've gotten a letter from Bethany Christian Services who received who forwarded information to us. There was a federal injunction placed against the executive order, and so refugee placement will continue as it always has since that law was enacted in the 80s. Until they fight it out in court, if they ever do, the placements will continue like they have with the organizations that handle those. I'm not sure how that directly impacts Berry County and our surrounding areas as far as people seeking to be licensed for foster care. I just know that it's an across-the-board decision that the courts have made. So, and then the paper reported that last week as well. So, did you have a question, Larry?
Just got real quickly. I researched that federal judge, and he's got a history. Judge, he's got a history of voting or ruling against Trump initiatives or what have you, and they're typically overturned.
Well, we'll see how long it lasts. But for now, that's the stay that those agencies have gotten, and we'll see how that goes. Executive orders get challenged a lot, so.
It's good they're keeping you up to date.
Yeah, I mean, that decision came down the day after this decision was made here. So at least if something gets reversed in the courts, we still have that for the year. And if we have to make a decision next year, we can do that as well. That's the information that I got from Bethany. So, any other correspondence? Consent items.
Madam Chair, I would move for the approval of the December 17th, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting minutes. Approval of January 14th, 2020 Board of Commissioners meeting minutes. Approval of January 21st, 2020 meeting of the whole meeting minutes. Approval of the attached reimbursement grant agreement in the amount of $5,000 with 270 Inc. to pay for spay-neuter of feral and barn cats in Berry County and authorize the board chairperson to sign it. Approval of the attached 2020 budget amendment for indigent defense services in Berry County. Approval to authorize the trade-in of the 2001 Lund Mr. Pike marine vessel instead of accepting sealed bids. Approval for SME Soils and Materials Engineers, Inc. to serve as the consultant that will assist the Brownfield Authority to administer the EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant. Approval of Value Midwest to perform the multi-tiered agricultural appraisal of the Carpenter Farm to comply with the requirements of the Michigan Farmland Preservation Grant Program requirements. Approval to reappoint Joe Sansemino to the Berry County Conservation Easement Board for a term that began on January 1st, 2020 and ends on December 31st, 2022. Approval to reappoint Dan King and Brian Urquhart to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for 3-year terms beginning January 1st, 2020 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Support.
Moved by Connors, second by Smelker. To approve the items listed under the consent agenda, discussion is not allowed and a roll call vote is required. The clerk will call the roll.
Con.
Yes.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smelker.
Yes.
Wayne.
Yes, the item is approved. Presentations, we do not have one today, nor do we have a public hearing. Items for consideration.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of claims in an amount of $129,218.07.
Second.
Motion by Gibson, second by Smoker, for the approval of claims in the amount of $129,218.07. The clerk will call the roll.
Geiger.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Smelker.
Yes.
Wayne. I'm sorry, Connor.
Yes.
Wayne. Yes.
The item is approved. Did we have any discussion about the bills? Because I forgot to offer. Thank you.
Item B, interview of Lynn Michael Snyder for Commission on Aging Board. Come on up, Michael.
Is there support for
Does he need
that?
the chair and table?
Support.
Mike, would you be more comfortable sitting?
Oh, that'd be fine.
Okay, we'll try to keep it,
Short?
yeah.
I don't make it.
Hour there under the spotlight's kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm not fine, thank you.
So,
First of all, I just
Thank you.
want to apologize for not being here last week. I was kind of down on the weather pretty much. And it's something that's going to continue on, according to my doctor, about 4 weeks before you can get rid of it. But anyway, my name is Mike Snyder. I am from I live in the city of Hastings. And I'm here to apply for the position on the COA board. You all have my resume, which is kind of boring, and I'm not going to go by that, but I feel that what I've done in the past is kind of correlates, quite a bit to what goes along in government. I am on the Zoning Board of Appeals in the city of Hastings. I'm a co-chair. I belonged to the fire department some years ago. I'm also on the Riverside Cemetery Advisory Committee. For the cemetery, I digitize all the records out there at the cemetery for all the 8,000 plus burials out there. They had 27, what do I want to call it, on each account. So it took me about a year and a half, 2 years to do it. And this is when I was on co-chair for the Riverside Company, which owned the cemetery prior to the city of Hastings taking over. The city of Hastings did take my my program and dumped it into their program, which is BNS, so that saved them probably a good years of work. I don't know. My education is I started out kindergarten in Hastings and then went to Woodland, lived in Woodland Township, graduated, then on to Western and then on to Bliss, and you know the rest of it. I think today, though, if I had my choice, I'd be a farmer. I loved it on the farm and loved to feed them and everything, but my father had was going to buy another farm, so we'd have half a section back in, this is back in the late 50s. Well, he went Saturday morning to sign up for it and get the papers on, somebody bought it from underneath him. And he bought the new our John Deere and everything else for it, so that was quite a catastrophe. Mother was happy, the rest of it weren't. I worked for many companies in the States. I also worked for a company in Japan and also China. And I have traveled throughout the world. I've been in about 13 countries, including in South America. A number of trips to Tokyo, Japan, because I was on the engineering committee there at the company, representing the European market and the North American market. I believe that my work kind of it prepared me for a lot of things that is done in the government. Even the government is a little different, but it's not. You have the same procedures, pretty much. It's just that you have to fine tune it a little bit. One thing I had found out was the government always takes so damn long to get things done. That for a business, if I needed a roof, something put on it, I just called that owner up and said I need a roof, and I had it the next day, which is a little bit different in government. I've done a lot of work with different programs or seminars. I was the head of our trade booth in the Rosemont there in Chicago, and also I probably don't remember the Chicago stockyards. It might have been before your time. That was where we had all the meetings or all the trade shows before.
Palace, right?
Pardon me?
The Cow Palace, right? Isn't that what it was called?
I don't know, back then we called it Chicago Stockyards. They had a big convention center there, and it had a heck of a restaurant there. Pretty nice if you like beef. Also, let's see where else. I've done a lot of project management work on the administrative side, which was basically my biggest project, which with Schuler, which owns Bliss up here. I worked for Schuler prior to that for years, and I was in charge of one of the manufacturing plants down in Columbus, Ohio, which Schuler had. They made all of the Volkswagen presses and stuff. And also from there, the project manager in charge of all installations in the United States. And we had a $500 million installation at Chrysler Corporation, Chrysler Warren, Mount Sterling, and et cetera. And I was in charge of the administration part of the installations. Also, I had responsibility of all the servicemen and also the aftermarket salespeople. And for General Motors, I did a big project for them down in Mexico. They come up with a big line of new equipment or used equipment, and I went through a multi-million-dollar project to rebuild. I wrote the specifications for General Motors and basically presented it, I presented it so all competitors could quote on it, including myself, of course, to kind of favor ourselves a little bit. And I got the order. It was not the lowest. Unfortunately, when I got back to the plant, the owner decided to sell the company and told me to hang on to the order, don't tell nobody, and rip it up. And told General Motors we refused the order. That was probably one of the worst times that you go through, but that's business. I did all the work and with Bic and Greece, and also with Bourgeois down in southern France, for all the lamination people. I come up with a concept of increasing the production of laminations by about 25 to 30%. And also the same thing with razor blades with Bic and grease. Other than that, I retired and I've been bored ever since.
I can see you're too busy.
Yeah, it was a great life. I mean, it was wonderful. You meet a lot of people, a lot of different cultures. I love the food all over the country. I ate their food except England. And it was pretty nice. I did some seminars. We had a trade booth over there at the Beck, which is the largest trade show in Europe. And we had equipment in there, and I was in charge of that. And which the trade shows in Europe are a lot different than they are here in the States. One thing, you walk in and you hang a can of beer before you get in the place. You know, here in the States, you're not allowed to have any alcohol, at least it's changed. And I designed a lot of seminars. I designed our booth for the trade show, and it was a multi-booth where you can do it for small shows or big shows. And we put in, that was due to the fact we even released it out to other companies. And as far as transportation, yes, I did a lot of handling of transportation, ships coming in from Japan into the Port of Houston and also to down in South Carolina. And during the hurricane, I had a ship coming over going into New Orleans. However, I didn't make it because the ports were closed. Had to split the load up and take it into the Port of Houston, and also over the box containers over to another port. And out of the Houston, the equipment was, I was the port captain because they signed you as a port captain when you got equipment on the ship. And so I had a port with all the stuff in there, and I also had leased the largest crane in Houston to get the equipment out of the bay and the ship, and put on these trucks where they're heavy trucks. There were 18 axle trucks, and had to get all the permits through all the states up to Owensboro, going into Toyota in Owensboro, Kentucky. So I guess that's it.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
questions?
I'm going to have Vivian Connor start with questions, and then we'll take turns.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for applying.
Thank you.
Have you attended any of the COA board meetings? Okay, I thought I'd tell you that some of them.
Yes.
And what is one thing that you'd like to bring to the COA board?
Well, the one thing I'd like to dig into is probably a little bit more of activities outside. I'd like to see some of the activities up here that they have when they go to Florida. You know, when they down there, because they got all kinds of outdoor activities. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a different facility, increased facility. I think I can help there quite a bit because I've done construction engineering or work in homes here in Hastings. In fact, I got 3 houses I designed it out in Indian Hills, and then one in Hanover and one down towards Dowling. And my brother-in-law built the houses and I designed them. I do have, of course, as I say, I do have project management, experience where it could help along the lines of the construction of whatever was decided there at the COA.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Commissioner Parker?
Mike, you've always been insightful on things that we've talked about, and Tarleton Park and other things like that too, and I appreciate your wisdom and stuff involved with that. What are the 3 critical things that we must do at the COA?
Number one, I think the first and more important thing is the demographics of what the future is going to bring. I mean, you got to have vision, and you've got to look at 5 years, you've got to look at 10 years, and even beyond that, to know what to do today to prepare for the future. I think that's important. And the thing is as far as the facility, what is the best for the community? Get the biggest bang for the buck? It's not necessarily the cheapest, or it's not necessarily the most expensive. It's a trade-off in between, and that has to be thoroughly, I think, discussed and with that. Let's see. What's the third thing? I think cooperation between the board of directors and the council here. I don't think there's enough of that. I think there should be more communications, and also along with the director of. I think that's important.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jackson?
Morning, Mike. Thanks for your application. I have to say, reading your application, the depth and the breadth of your information was impressive, one of the better ones I've read. So thanks for putting the time and effort into that. I don't have any questions. These two have done a fine job, so thank you.
Commissioner Geiger?
I've known Mike for a long time. You're a good guy and a good public servant. I think you'll do great on the COA board. Thank you for applying.
Commissioner Smoker?
I've known Mike ever since I've been on the board. I think you'll be an excellent member.
And Commissioner Gibson?
I've sat on other boards with Michael. He does a good job. I think he would be a good fit for that board.
Well, thank you.
I have no questions for you.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for.
I hope you're feeling better.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. It's getting there. It's going to take a while.
I know this bug has been going around. So.
Yeah, it's there are 3 different viruses right now that are going around.
Well, I hope you don't have all 3 of them.
It's nothing from China. Let's hope.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions for you, but thank you for all that you've done in our community.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right, so we have the interview complete. The next item on our agenda is an appointment. Does somebody want to make the motion?
I would make a motion that we accept Michael Snyder for the COA board.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Gibson, support by Jackson to appoint Mike Snyder.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I can interrupt. Item C
It does that.
does include
Him as an appointment?
Mike Snyder's anticipated
Okay,
that, so.
all right.
Item
So-
C, approval to reappoint Terry Dennis and Sandy Cozen and Sharon Zambrowski, and to appoint Len Michael Snyder to serve on the Berry County Commission on Aging Board for 3-year terms that begin on 1/1/20 and expires on 12/31/22.
Second.
Motion by Gibson, support by Parker, for the approval to reappoint Terry Dennison, Sandy Kozan, and Sharon Zabrowski to appoint Lynn Michael Snyder to serve on the Berry County Commission on Aging for 3-year terms that begin on 1/1/20 and expire on 12/31/22. Any discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smoker,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Geiger,
Yes.
Wayne.
Yes, the appointments are approved. Unfinished business, I do not have any. New business, I am not aware of any. County Administrator's Report.
I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Chairperson's Report. Wednesday night, we had a fairly nice turnout. It was a nice discussion. I think Tower Pinkster added quite a bit of information to their presentation that we had all asked for. We are still looking for other venues within the county to do other outreaches. We weren't there too late. I was home by 9:30, so it wasn't a knockdown drag out like I had been forecasted. So other than that, I really don't have much to report. Had a community action meeting last night. My townships have been done for a couple of weeks. And it's now the second semester. I have 4 new classes that I've never taught before. It's been 30 years since I took sociology, and it's quite interesting. Other than that, it's basketball season, and trap season is right around the corner. So we have busy things on our agenda at home. Commissioner Connor.
Thank you. I attended the jail forum last Wednesday. I also attended the airport board, which John's going to report on. Jim Dahl had a lake level meeting for the lakes in the area of Berry and Prairieville Township, and I attended that. And this morning we had a Board of Public Works. I was reelected as chair, and Dave was reelected as vice chair.
Congratulations.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Gibson.
Yes, I attended the forum on Wednesday. At my mental health board meeting on January the 9th, Mark Linglet was at our meeting to give us some information on the people that are homeless in Berry County. We decided that we would have information to be given to the homeless people with phone numbers on who they could contact for help. I talked to the Sheriff's Department and the city police. They have information in their cars, and when they run across homeless people, they give them information so they know who to contact. We also talked about building issues. Holly Hess gave us an update on recipient rights. Brenda Ellison gave us an update on corporate compliance. We approved the contract with Relias for annual staff training. At my transit board meeting on January the 20th, we had our organization meeting. I was elected to be chairman for 2020. Craig Stolzenberg was elected vice chair. We've completed the application for grant funding for the year 2021 and submitted to MDOT for approval. Dispatch software upgrade should be done by January the 28th. Transit phone system provider Firstel is also working on an upgrade to our current phone system. We will be able to play back messages. David Stroner has been hired as a new driver. He is currently going through training to obtain a CDL. Matt Funk has been promoted to a new position as operation manager and currently learning the various operation programs. At the City Council meeting last night, they approved the request from Shannon Everett, Very Berry Committee, to hold the 11th annual Very Berry event at the Lard Pavilion at Tyden Park on Saturday, June the 6th, 2020, from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Actual event hours, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We also approved the request for use for Bob King and Fish Hatchery ball fields and soccer fields for Gina McMahon YMCA for spring-summer 2020 league use. Allison Troyer Wiswell was there to give us an update on the blue zones. The council also approved the concession proposal and authorized clerk treasurer to sign proposal for Hastings Rotary and Hastings Kiwanis clubs for the Thornapple Plaza for the 2020 season. They also approved the request from Hastings Rotary and Hastings Kiwanis clubs to sell beer and wine and authorized the mayor and clerk treasurer to sign during the Thornapple Plaza 2020 season. They also approved to reappoint Clint Neal to the LDFA for a 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2023. They also appointment of Hastings High School student Maggie Ned Balak to the Nature Area Board for partial term ending December 31st, 2020. They also appointed Joe Whitney, Hastings High School science teacher, to the Nature Area Board for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2022. They also approved Marilyn Smith agreement for certified grant administrator with Smith Housing Consultants. That's about all I have. They also had a goal-setting session that lasted an hour. I'm not going to read these goals because they had 89 goals for the next 5 years to things they'd like to accomplish. I can give you the headline on it. It says, Hastings City Council established the following goals to guide the allocation of resources through the city's annual budget. It is the city's intent to accomplish the tasks described in the goals to the fullest extent possible. However, economic limitations or even reductions in the resources available to the city from various funding sources such as state revenue sharing may develop, preventing the city from fully achieving the prescribed goals. There's 89 of them. I'll let you look at them if you want. I'm not going to go through all of them. I think I've had my 3 minutes.
Thanks, sir. Commissioner Geiger.
Every Super Bowl Sunday, Woodland has a tradition. The Woodland Firemen's Breakfast will be going on, so please come visit the northeast corner of the county. That's it.
Commissioner Smelker.
I attended the forum also. They had a 911 organizational meeting. Lanny Forbes was elected chair. I was elected vice chair, and I am chair of the finance committee. Also attended the transit with Hoot, and he pretty much went through that. And the airport with Vivian, and it was brought up at the airport meeting that there is a group of investors that might be interested in privatizing the airport. So that's about it.
And he also went to the Board of Health meeting.
Oh,
his
yeah, my first
meeting,
one, yeah.
And he was very well behaved. So we should all be so proud.
That may change.
Commissioner Jackson.
How did we know? I attended the West Michigan Regional Planning Commission meeting on the 17th. I brought you guys just a staff update for some information because we don't talk a lot about the West Michigan Regional Planning. I know Cindy Vuja is now sitting on that as well. They are talking about a potential SEDS project for Middleville that they're working through right now. But as you look through that, if you look at your areas, if there are other projects that kind of fit into that, we'd love to work on some other projects for Berry County as well. So if you just wrap your brain around some of the projects on there, there's a lot of potential. I don't think we're tapping everything that we could do for the Regional Planning Commission. Animal shelter was January 21st. I was elected chair for probably the 4th year running now. As of last week, there was 11 cats and 3 dogs. We know that the capacity for cats is 25, and they typically don't last long, so there is just about always 25, but the number of dogs is very low. If you haven't got a chance to stop out there, they have totally taken the storage barn in the back and renovated it. It's drywalled, it's got heat, it's painted, and they're going to start doing low-cost training classes out there at some point in the very near future. So Ken just continues to amaze me with his vision and some of the things. The entire shelter, as far as the kennel areas, have been painted and revamped, so those look outstanding, and they're going to be working on the offices next. The new hours that we discussed last year are now in effect as well, so they're doing a good job of advertising those. So lots of good things continuing to happen there. I attended the lake level meeting with Vivian last Friday, the jail Commission on Aging meeting last week as well, and looking forward to our meetings today, correct? In this room?
I believe so.
Believe so? Okay.
Commissioner Parker.
Yeah, been to the Thornapple Township, been to the village of Middleville, nothing really to report there. Went to the village, had a meeting yesterday with the village, trying to, for those that were involved with the village prior to this on the master plan, the previous master plan, they called us in and tried to get some ideas what's going on, and we're going to develop a new master plan and that too. So, and then we had our Parks Commission meeting, our first or second one, I guess, after the organizational. Our bylaws, we went through the first meeting, and everything is gelling together. Everybody seems to be working together. It's kind of exciting to see that move so quickly. And then we're waiting for approval or suggestions by attorneys on our bylaws to make sure they're okay with legal ramifications that will be avoided. And that's about it for right now. So I sure did miss going to the health board meeting. So.
Well, I missed going to Charlton Park, so we're even.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
can I add one more thing?
Sure.
It's a woodland pancake breakfast, which is a very good breakfast.
Very good.
911 is going to have a table set up to help people sign up for Smart 911, which is very good. If you
This Sunday, what time?
From like, I don't know, it's kind of like in my DNA. I just kind of go to it in the morning. It's from like 7:38 till like
noon.
There he is. It's Tim Allen. I 8 to 1.
And it's Sunday morning?
Yes. It's always Super Bowl
Super Bowl
Sunday.
Sunday,
People
yeah.
forget that. It's always Super Bowl Sunday.
That interferes with our chore schedule and church schedule. We would not be able to make the travel, so. From that one. Any other things for today? Wow, 9:35. Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Still Mike Snyder from Hastings. Just want to thank you for putting me on the COA board, appreciate it. And I'd just like to pass on some good news. It's not to do with the city or anything else, but my granddaughter, of course, has been accepted to Duke University of the sports scholarship. It's 30%.
Congratulations.
And so she swims, and she, as a freshman, this last meet, she came in second and third. It's in the butterfly and the freestyle. And on the Olympic team, she was the fastest on the Olympic team. And so, and my son, he lives in, of course, he lives out in California, but he goes over, he has not missed a meet yet this year. Wherever they are in Boston, wherever, he'll fly out on a Thursday night and spend the weekend with her. So, get lots of family support. And she's a pre-med student, and right now it's her second course, she's a straight A. So, she's a good little girl. I don't know where she gets it from, but I just was proud, and I think it's something for Hastings, that being, my son was born in Hastings and lived in Hastings for a while. It's something just to pass on, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Is there any other business that needs to come before the board? There being no further business and without objection, the board will now adjourn.